Hello, I'm Tumeki Griffin, and I'd like to share with you a short story that I wrote. I know you're saying, oh Lord, another boring story. Let me tell you something. No, I wrote this 4 years ago. And how I found it was I was looking for something. I am a writer, and as writers, we have to stay motivated because a lot of times we may be in our feelings and we cannot write from that place sometimes. Now, we write because we're going to kill somebody sometime. We write for therapy. Well, I can only speak for myself. My writing is my therapy. Okay? So now, 4 years ago, I write this story. Had not seen it in 4 years. And how it came about, I was looking for something to read to inspire me to go ahead and finish my romance novel that I'm doing called Morse Code. So I had Maya Angelou's book called I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and read that because she was a powerful speaker and a wonderful artist, writer. I ain't picked that book up. I walked past that book sitting on my living room couch, walked from the couch to the kitchen, and it was just still sitting there. And I'm like, I can't read it. And so what happened is I'm looking for something else, flipping through one of my journals, and I come across this right here. And I started crying. I said, oh my God, I wrote this. I could not believe I wrote, and I was in a very dark moment in my life. I had some questions that I needed God to answer. I had a lot of things that didn't happen like I saw in my mind's eye. And I said, God, why isn't my life turning out how I see? I keep seeing this premier picture of what's to come for Tumeki Griffin, and nothing worked. Nothing was happening. I'm distraught. You understand me? Nothing was going right. I was still alive and I was still grateful, but it just at that time it wasn't enough. That's how we get. There's a feeling that we know we have something in us that has to come out, but we don't know how to get it out. There go my preaching part coming out. So I had some questions, and so when I asked, I said, God, what is wrong with me? And he answered my question with a picture. And he flashed in my mind's eye a pearl laying on the bottom of the ocean floor, all alone. And the name of that pearl had a name. His name was Promise. Okay? And then he also showed me a picture of this oyster that was wide open, laying beside that pearl. I just couldn't get it. And so God showed me how that pearl became how that pearl became a pearl. That pearl, before it was a pearl, it was in a dark, dark place, all alone. And I said, wow, that is awesome. And I felt crazy. I'm like, what in the world? What are you saying? Okay. So I couldn't quite get it. So he downloaded a story of the pearl in my spirit. And immediately flashed a movie across the stage of my mind of what's to come, starring Tumeki Griffin. Ooh, and that juicy. I know it didn't hit you because it ain't your story. It's my story. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share you a piece of my promise. Okay? Here it goes. Lying on the bottom of the dark seabed all alone, hiding in your own shell. Nobody to talk to, nobody to listen to you, and nobody who you could trust again. Oh, how you wanted to open up, but this time it's just too painful. In your mind, nobody will ever get in your small space again. However, I just keep having this vision that I am not alone. At night as I slept, I dreamed of a pearl lying next to me. For years, I've had the same dream over and over again. And at first, I didn't quite understand what this dream was all about, and I could not do anything to stop it. It just kept on replaying. Over the years, I would always feel somewhat irritated on my left side. So I'd say a simple prayer to help me fall asleep, and it worked only to come back again. Each time the pain was magnified, and I often said the same prayer, and it did help me. Until eventually I stopped praying that same prayer and I started asking a question. My question was, what is this pain in my side? The reply back was, I am a tiny grain of sand named Promise, and I came to irritate you. Not only was I now in pain, I was indeed irritated. I wondered how could one piece of sand cause so much pain. And the worst part about it, I couldn't do anything to stop it. I just had to bear it. The more and more comfortable I tried to get, the more excruciating the feeling became. It would not let me rest. I tried to open up to get it out. I tried to talk it out, but that grain of sand had grew. And I noticed it had a shining outer layer and a hint of a light inside. Finally, I asked Promise to leave, but it replied, I can't. I was promised to you. Promise went on to tell me that I had accepted him at an age of 13 years old as a young girl. He said, I was in your heart, and you were warm and tender, and I was easy to love. Promise went on to tell me that as I grew older and life tossed me angrily, he had to leave my heart, and he was forced to live in between my ribs and under my breast, but he could also still view my heart. None of this made any sense at all, and once again, I noticed that Promise was even bigger now this time. Promise, I screamed, please leave me. You are hurting me. I can't bear the pain. I want you to leave me alone. I begged. Once again, his reply was, I can't. I've been promised to you, he said. You see, Promise grew to the point that I could no longer keep my hands down. I had to raise my arms up. For he was beginning to cover my whole chest now. I had to keep my hands raised up high. Everywhere I went, people would notice that I was different. I hear often, girl, you got a certain aura about you. You got a healthy glow. You pregnant? No. Many times I would think people were crazy because, see, I didn't see this in myself. Didn't see any of this. Day after day, month after month, and year after year, God promised covered all of my vital organs, especially those nearest to my heart. He extended to all of my bones, my muscles, my ligaments. Strangely enough, he did not stop until I became a beautiful pearl. I was now valuable. Promise made me open up to him. He refused to allow me to wallow in my self-pity. I was too beautiful for that. And then I started seeing my own beauty from within. All it took for Promise was a small ounce of childlike faith to enter in my life. He promised me never to leave me nor to forsake me. He helped me to realize that I belonged to him and he belonged to me. His promises were meant to overtake me, to cover me and to protect me. His promises were everlasting. The vision of the pearl inside me in those dark and lonely nights was my nightlight. Those days were not completely dark. It only seemed that way. I found as if when I began to talk to others and shared my story, that they too were precious gemstones left at the bottom of the ocean floor. You see, we were all in this thing together, y'all. Some of us are just centimeters apart, buried deep in the sand. We needed those dark moments. Beautiful pictures are developed in that dark blue water, in that deep, deep sand. I wrote that 4 years ago, just before I was homeless. You understand? Just before my surgery, I still had to believe in this promise. You still have to believe in the promise that God made to you. I was 13 years old when I gave my heart to him. So, as life just threw me about, I forgot about God. It was too painful to believe in him anymore. I was depressed, suicidal, had 3 children, went through a divorce, homeless, lost both my cars, my houses. Friends, family turned their back on me. And yet, this promise never left me. I became irritated because I kept seeing this promise. And to me, it was just a smokescreen. It would never leave my life. I begged it. It was too painful to see me as big as I was, living as little as I was. So that's why I kept begging, promise to leave. But it wouldn't. Your promise is not going to leave you until it is fulfilled. And so I'm going to end that right now. Your promise is there for you, and only you can fulfill it. This is Tumeki Griffin. I thank you for listening to a part of my promise. But I promise you there's more to come. You have a great day. I love you. Bye-bye.